How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts.
How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. All right, I had the thing pushed this time, but unfortunately, the cord in the back came out somehow. I guess Rico probably walked under there and hit that cord. All right, so that's plugged back in. Thank you all for letting me know. I wasn't looking at my the messages that you guys were putting up there, so I was wondering, like, why is the numbers not growing here? So let me rephrase what I was talking about there as I was opening that up. When we have, and I'm assuming you guys couldn't hear the music or anything on that. I don't know if it was going through here or not. The more on news days like today, I mean, I quite frankly could have skipped today doing today's show, but I felt like I needed to come on here for something. But news days like today, where there's not a lot of breaking news, what I'm starting to find is that the news agencies and the Laura Lomer, or however you say her name, those types of reporters, the Alex Jones reporters, and even the mainstream media, what they do is they start amping stuff up, and they start making things more salacious, like clickbait you would see on the internet, where it's you got to click on this. You will not believe what this person said. It just ruined their career, and you click on it. It's like something that they said like 15 years ago. It's like, so when I'm listening, and I'm going to go over this in just a little bit, when I listen to what some of these people say, I just got through watching the Joe Pag show on Newsmax, amongst other shows, catching up on the pulse of the media, and Laura Loomers was on there. That's she's the girl that got arrested on the stage when they had the play where they were assassinating Trump, and she went up and protested that and got arrested. And she's, I think she was with InfoWars. No, maybe she wasn't with InfoWars. She was with one of these different kind of conspiratorial type of news agencies. And so I'm listening to her talk about all the stuff that's going on with this investigation in Vegas. And she's saying, she got this from an employee of the MGM Grand or wherever, the Mandalay Bay. And some of the stuff that she's saying, I know is not true, okay? Some of the stuff she says are valid questions, not valid points. And like I told, I did a phone interview today for a radio show, and what I was telling the host of this show, when he said, well, reports are that he was scouting out other locations, the Lollapalooza tour, this other place, and I stopped him right there and said, who says that he was scouting, that those were scouting trips? He booked the hotels, but he was a rich guy. We don't know anything about this guy. We don't know if he loved concerts. We don't know. So when people start making these assumptions and saying this guy was scouting this out, or there's no what was she just talking about a minute ago? The guy that owns MGM Grand, which is the parent company, I guess, of Mandalay Bay, that he is a supporter of radical Islam groups like CARE and stuff like that. I don't know if he is. Maybe he is, but that he won't allow armed security at their hotel, even though Mandalay Bay says that they have armed security. I don't know about all this stuff. I do know that there were questions, that I have questions about why it took police so long to get there. See, for me, that's the real focus here. The investigation is going to play itself out. I have my own sources that are not just employees at Mandalay Bay. These are people that are in the know, and I'll just keep it at that. But from the word I'm getting is the only evidence that's appearing is that this guy was crazy. Now, I'm not necessarily buying that, even though my sources say that's what is being, the information that's being collected says. I just don't think that they found the niche to find out exactly who this guy is. But what I will tell you is that he doesn't fit the profile in my mind of somebody who's psychopathic, because typically you can go back and look at the psychopathic lifestyle. You can go back and look. And yes, this guy was weird. There's no doubt about it. We know the little that we know about him, we know that he's weird. But I don't trust his brother, who evidently has like 20 kids. I don't trust his girlfriend, who, mysteriously left right before him, blames it and says that it was because he was wanting to take care of her and she thought he was breaking up with him, but she didn't question that at all, that he gave her $100,000 and said, she didn't say, are we breaking up? I mean, I don't buy these stories. From what I've learned from being in law enforcement for a long time is that the woe is me stories typically aren't true. There's more to it. So I do agree with Laura that there's more to the story here. I do agree with people that go online and say this and that. And I saw, there's I think that this person follows me. I know she followed me on Instagram and on Twitter, and I followed her back on those. I don't know about the Facebook page, but her screen name was Andy Oakley, I think. And she posted something yesterday on Instagram, and it just got me. I just got to a point where I was like, and it was basically saying that the Las Vegas Police Department have become patsies, not patsies, that they, I can't remember the term. It was something, in other words, saying that they're not patsies, but they're completely being used by the FBI, right? They're like a dog that lays over and spreads its legs for its owner, just in submission. That's what they were saying basically about the sheriff's department in Vegas. There's nobody there. I'm talking to people on the inside that know about this stuff. There's no sign that this sheriff and his department are bending over backwards for the FBI. I just think he's a bad sheriff. I'm going to be honest with you. These things, it's a plague in this country, just like the plague of unawareness. The plague of bad executives in law enforcement is rampant. And I think that this guy is, from what I'm starting to see from cops talking about him, is that he's similar to the chief that was in Dallas. That he's a self-absorbed executive and got himself elected, and that he's not transparent. He's not used to being transparent, and so that's why everybody's having such a hard time with this. I think if we just judged him on the basis of what the tactics, techniques, and procedures were that he was using that day to stop this type of an attack, and why it took 75 minutes for law enforcement to get there. I feel the same way about him. I feel about the chief of police in Dallas, and also the chief or sheriff, whoever it was that was in charge of Orlando, that decided to pull the officers out and wait 3 hours with hostage negotiators, negotiating with an Islamic fundamentalist as though that's going to work, and then stormed it and more people got killed. I mean, these are failed tactics that go all the way back to the Columbine High School massacre, where it should have changed after that, and nothing's ever changed. By the way, if you have not shared this on Facebook, share it. If you're on Twitter and you're watching, make sure that you are sharing this on Twitter, you're retweeting it on Twitter, and let's get this audience growing. I mean, the biggest problem I'm having with this show right now is that all at once this happened. Okay, about 2 weeks ago. Basically, it kind of surrounds when I went to 8 o'clock from being at 9 o'clock. And this is where I think you all need to step in. The funding to the GoFundMe page stopped. It just stopped. I got like $50 here and $25 there from one or two people. Not enough to keep this show going. The other thing that happened was the numbers just crashed. The reach in this show is gone. I'm looking at the retweets. I'm looking at the shares on Facebook. They're way down. Way down. We were having 130 shares on Facebook. Now the average is like 60. So that really is the impact that we're seeing here. People aren't funding the show, and they're not sharing the links for the show. So the numbers are just down. So we got to get that going again, because ultimately, look, if I step out of the way, there's other people you can watch. If you think that watching Your Voice America with Bill, whatever his name is going to be different than what you're seeing on TV, It's the same. There are going to be people talking on there that have no experience in anything. They just made a career out of talking. Big difference. I have a career that's talking, that includes talking now, but I've spent the majority of my life as an adult in an operational capacity in one way or another in the federal government. So picking up the clues along the way of what's the reality in this country and how things work. But if you're more comfortable just turning on a TV for background, fake opinionated facts, or watching these other web shows where they're, the Dennis Michael Lynch's, the Bill Mitchells, where there's no experience there. I mean, if that's what you want. They're getting like thousands of views per show. Then that's the way it'll go. Not to chastise everybody, but look, this show is for you all, and the more populated this show gets, the more guests I'll be able to have on, the more it's funded, the broader we can make this show. But we got to get on this. So, which leads me back to the first thing that I wanted to talk about today. We actually already covered now the second thing, which was the Vegas thing. The last thing I'll say about that is I'm not expecting pure transparency while the investigation is going on, but I also don't like it when police departments put out information that they haven't clearly vetted, and then they're going to go back and change it, because all that does, it just magnifies how much people don't trust government. And that's a problem that we have in this country, is that nobody trusts government anymore. So they have to be smarter than this, and know a special agent in charge in Las Vegas is not the son-in-law of John Podesta. So, also, does anybody know what happened to this big news that John Podesta was supposed to be talking about aliens? You do realize John Podesta is some kind of weird freak, right? Has anybody not got a clue on that? The guy that managed Hillary Clinton's campaign, him and his brother are weirdos and alien weirdos and stuff. Listen, I'm not talking about illegal aliens from Mexico. They're talking about the aliens of space kind. So, the Project Veritas did a thing also that, man, I'd love to get James O'Keefe. I interviewed him on the Hannity show last year sometime, but they did another sting where they're looking at how social media works. This is no surprise, folks, no surprise. One of the reasons why I think our views are down is that the people that run YouTube, the people that run Facebook, and the people that run Twitter are all leftist. And they do not like conservatives or truth seekers. It's a threat to them. They don't like it. And so they will censor. They will censor. I talked about this yesterday, and it is I was speculating this, and I thought there's evidence here that shows that. But now, if you haven't had a chance to go look it up, look up Project Veritas and their new video, and it talks all about this the way that they manipulate numbers, the relationship with the New York Times and YouTube, and the way that YouTube, and I'm sure Facebook and Twitter both will skew the numbers, because they got these computer algorithms now where they try to pick stuff out. Instead of just letting people have freedom of speech and just talk, and if you want to listen and not, they don't do that. They have some kind of algorithm that already does its job of censoring people, so they can blame it on that. And then they have other people that they hired, like Facebook hired 4,000 people to go in and actually censor. That's what they do. And they give low numbers, or they don't push the reach out to where it goes to different pages. They just don't. So we know this stuff is happening, and that's another reason why the views are so low. If you can't tell, I'm a little frustrated today. Yeah, it frustrates me. So let's go to the A block, and I'm going to I want to talk about Maxine Waters, and then we'll probably call it a short show. I think I said last night, tune in tomorrow for the Friday Night Toast. That's what happens when you get ingrained, whatever you want to call it, with writing a book and editing a book. You lose track of the time and space, and that's what happened yesterday. So tomorrow is the Friday Night Toast. So let's go to the A block.
How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
All right. I got a little video here. You know how I pick out on this show every now and then? I'll pick somebody out, and I will go over the person that they are, and I'll go over the reality of what their resume is all about, the reality of who they are. Well, we're going to pick on Maxine Waters a little bit tonight, and this is a very interesting video. We're just going to start. We're not going to play this whole thing because she's, quite frankly, she's hard to watch. And but I want to I just want to start with this. All right. So let me make sure it's playing.
I wish I could sit with Dick because I've got work to do. I'm cleaning out the White House.
Wait, what? All right. I got to play that one more time. I mean, who All right. Go ahead, Maxine. Tell us what you want to do again.
I wish I could sit with Dick because I've got work to do. I'm cleaning out the White House.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're going to sanitize the White House.
Sabotage it, are you? Okay. That's pretty American. She's going to sabotage the White House, which is the actual, where you would call the CEO of the government. She's going to sabotage that. Well, that makes sense because she's a communist and a black separatist. But go ahead. Well, first off, who would put this woman on a stage? That's what I want to know. And who's the weirdos that are clapping? I always ask this question. Who's more strange? This freak or the freaks out there in the audience that clap for this nonsense? You want to talk about brain dead. This country is... It's gone, man. They're falling off the edge. I guess the flat earthers may be right. Flat earth. Whoop. Hit the wrong thing there, sorry.
We're not going to take what is happening in this country. Haven't you taken enough?
Of you.
And then comes along this person. This person who does not respect you. This dishonorable human being who cheats everybody. This dishonorable human being who will lie at the drop of a hat. This dishonorable human being who have the alt-right and the KKK.
It sounds like she's doing an autobiography on herself.
Everybody else inside his cabinet.
Oh, okay. So she's saying that the president now had the alt-right, the KKK, and neo-Nazis, I think she said, in his White House, which we know is not true. There's no KKK or white supremacist agenda that's being pushed through the White House. Anybody on Twitter wants to argue with me about that, there's no proof that that is the case. However, we can look at the last administration, and there is plenty of proof that President Obama, and the Democratic Party with people like old
Debbie Wasserman Schultz. It puts the lotion on. That's Debbie.
So there, people like that developed relationships with the Muslim Brotherhood. But there's plenty of proof that they did that, and other extremist leftist groups, communist groups, fully supporting, even when the girl got killed there in Charlottesville, failing to recognize that, yes, there were weirdo white supremacists there, but there were weirdo communists there as well. Why won't they talk about that? Because that's who they are. That's who she is.
This dishonorable human being who can criticize everybody but Putin and Russia.
I can't stand when she says Putin.
Did he collude with Russia? I bet you Dick Gregory would tell me, yeah, he did it. Not only are we going to clean out the White House, we're going to take back the house that slaves built. And I know even my colleagues get very upset. Some get afraid when I say impeachment.
You know, we've heard enough. So that's old Maxine Waters. That comes off of Fox News Insider. She's a disgrace. She's a weirdo. She says stuff. She's got nothing to back it up with. And let's look at her career, okay? Let's look at who Maxine Waters is. She, let's see here, is 79 years old. She's from St. Louis. She's a Democrat. Some guy actually married her, Edward Waters. Why is everybody named Ed Waters? I know like 3 Ed Waters. It's interesting. She's got a bachelor's degree from California State University. She spawned 2 kids. And in 1977, she went into politics. She was with the California State Assembly until 1981. And then in 1991. Yeah, 1991. In 1991, she went in and ran and got elected for the U.S. House of Representatives from California's 29th District. Then she went to the 35th District in 1993. Then she went to the 43rd District, which sucks because that's my favorite number, 43. And she's still there. She's been in office since some way, shape, or form since 1977. And she's been in the House of Representatives since 1991. 1991, folks. That is all I have to say about term limits. An individual, and this is why you can't say that, well, listen, she's been in politics for that long, she's the expert in that field. You know what she's an expert liar. She's an expert manipulator. She's an expert criminal which evidently, we'll scoot down here. If you look at her Wikipedia page, right? This is her Wikipedia page. Let's pull this up here. I don't know if you can even see this. If it's going to pick up on this, probably not. So her Wikipedia page basically says, let me see if a white balance will help at all. Let's see here. Nope. Okay. Basically, what it says here that you can't see is that she, in 1973, she actually entered into politics. And then when she went in the House of Representatives, all she's ever done was complain. She complained about Rodney King. She went and met with Castro in Cuba. Communist. See, I don't just come up with this stuff and make it up, okay? She visited with Castro in Cuba and a number of times praised Fidel Castro, a dictator, somebody who, you know, is a typical dictator, communist dictator, and killed people, enslaved people, tremendous human rights violations. She praised him and demanded an end to the U.S. Trade embargo. In 1998, Waters wrote a letter to Castro citing the 1960s and 70s as a sad and shameful chapter in our history and thanked Castro for providing help to those who needed to flee political persecution. In 1998, she wrote an open letter to Fidel Castro asking him not to extradite African-American activist and convicted murderer, I forgot how to say her name, Assata Shakur, the woman who murdered a New Jersey state trooper. This
traitor, Maxine Waters, wrote Fidel Castro and asked him not to extradite her. And then we go to government spending. So we know she's a traitor. She's a communist. She's complained about everything. Government spending when the Bushes were in office, but when the Clintons were in office, no. Haiti. She criticized our involvement in Haiti in 2004. The CIA, she criticizes them, accused them of, and wanted investigations opened about all these crazy things that she says they did. The Iraq War, she criticized that and wasn't for it. International lending. Let's see what it says here. Not much. She criticized the Tea Party, criticized George Bush. Hey, well, look, she criticized Barack Obama as well, but I'm sure it was for something stupid. Inefficiently supporting the black community, which, from what I understand, she doesn't do anything for her district. She criticized Donald Trump, wants him impeached. But here's the thing about her. Alleged corruption. So here's a woman who graduated college. She didn't do anything else. She basically went into politics. She's been in politics, so how does she know what's effective or not if she's never done anything? She's never dug a ditch, served the country, been to the inner city to see the reality of what's happening and what's progressing there. She's probably never been taught how to use a firearm properly so she can understand her Second Amendment. She claims her color, and defines herself as a black woman instead of a human being and an American. She is friends with communists, supportive of communists, doesn't want people who murder state troopers to be brought to justice. So on top of all that, right, no experience whatsoever, has done a terrible job. She makes John McCain look like a superstar. According to Chuck Neubauer and Ted Rolich, I think, of the writing in the Los Angeles Times in 2004, Maxine Waters' relatives had made more than $1 million during the preceding 8 years by doing business with companies, candidates, and causes that Waters had helped. That's one. The Liberty Watchdog Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington named Waters to a list of corrupt members of Congress in 2005, 2006, 2009, and 2011. And Citizens Against Government Waste named her the 2009 June 2009 Porker of the Month due to her intention to obtain an earmark for the Maxine Waters Employment Preparation Center. Corrupt people. During 2009, the House Ethics Committee started an investigation of allegations that Waters improperly, man, why am I having such a hard time talking? Improperly assisted a bank to receive bailout money assistance during the 2008 financial crisis. She came under investigation for ethics violations and was accused by a House panel of at least one of those ethics violations related to her efforts to help One United Bank receive federal aid. Waters' husband is a stockholder and former director of One United Bank, and bank executives were contributors to her campaign. In 2008, she arranged meetings between U.S. Treasury Department officials and One United Bank so the bank could plead for federal cash. It had been heavily invested into Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, and its capital was all but wiped out. Blah, blah, blah. The bank received $12 million in troubled asset relief, TARP money. It was investigated by the House Ethics Committee, which charged her with violations of the House Ethics Rules in 2010. On September 21st, 2012, the House Ethics Committee completed a report clearing Waters of all ethics charges after nearly 3 years of investigations. You see, well, that was during the Obama administration, so that's not a surprise. Folks, they're so corrupt in Washington, D.C. It's out of control. It is absolutely out of control. Bottom line, Maxine Waters is a corrupt individual. She's just another one of these weirdos that somehow exist up in Washington, D.C. Rico just came in. They exist in Washington, D.C. They never leave Washington, D.C. They live off your taxpayer money, and they have ruined this country. Here's another thing. Missouri State Senator, she's blasting Trump again after censure. So this is why instead of putting a letter of censure on somebody or whatever that is, they need to get rid of these people. This is the Missouri State Senate, but these people should be fired from their jobs. They're there to manage the country. They're not there to divide the country. And I think something should be put in the Constitution, in all the constitutions around the country, in all the states, that if somebody becomes divisive or divisive in government, where they're causing division, they should be fired from that job because they're not serving the American people in a proper and positive manner. So, it is what it is. All right. I think that's about it. Unless anybody else has something. What else anybody got? I know tonight's slow. It's a slow news night. I quite frankly don't feel like being here. Hello, Rico. We'll end the show with Rico. Hold on. Why don't you stand right there? There you go. All right. You good? Don't look so nervous. All right. What do you say we go to the Truth Zone, dog? Let me reach under here and use this mouse. All right. Stand by. Truth Zone coming up. Stand by.
How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
All right, you stay right there. Diggity dog. Sorry, just one of those slow news days. Not a lot going on, and I'm not going to sit here and make things more salacious than they have to be. As things start to develop in some of these stories, again, we'll be back, and I'll have more to say about them. Maxine Waters is our idiot of the day. And Rico, you're the dog of the day. Okay, congratulations. So, make sure you come back tomorrow for the Friday Night Toast. Make sure that you go to the GoFundMe page and help me get this show, get the finances back going again. Share it. Not necessarily tonight's show. I don't know if we really covered a lot tonight. And let's get these numbers up, folks. It is disheartening after 2 years, and the numbers have been so good that they just fall so quickly. And it could be a lot of stuff that's on TV, who knows, but we got to get those back up. Here, you just rest your head right there. So it's a good thing about being old, right? You just get people to take care of you. So that's about it, and I hope that everybody has a good Thursday night. I hope you're not watching the NFL or whatever's on tonight. I don't pay any attention to football. I watch NASCAR, although Dale Jr.'s kind of burnt me from that too, but let's just keep pushing forward. All right.
Say goodnight, dog. We're going to end it even shortly on the Truth Zone tonight. I just don't have much to say, but that's okay. Some days are just like that. This is Rico here and Jonathan Gillum. This is The Experts. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Friday Night Toast. We're out.
How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.